just last December at Lawrence Livermore National Lab, the National Ignition Facility achieved what's called ignition, which is more power comes out than goes into the plasma. And that is really what we're hoping to eventually get, which is energy from fusion. And one of the witnesses, who is the CEO of a company called Helion in Seattle, let us know that they have signed a power agreement with Microsoft to provide power from fusion in 2028, and that they believe that they will actually achieve fusion energy plants within this decade, and several other witnesses agreed. That will change everything in terms of the environment, in terms of the cost of energy. It will have a profound impact, and it's something I've been working on, because although the private sector is going to bring the energy plants online, there are things that the federal government needs to fund in terms of the basic science, so that that can be cleared, not for any one company, but for the world. That information will become available. And it's important that as the private sector money rolls into these companies, and actually there's more private sector money going in than there is federal money, we don't drop the ball on our essential part. And so I lobbied the president, the Secretary of Energy, the White House staff that's assigned to climate change to request funding for what's been authorized. It's never happened to actually fund what the law has suggested, and President Biden finally did that. And that will make a profound change if we can get the appropriations done. Another thing that we're working on in the committee is quantum computing. And, it's an arcane subject, but we are getting so close. People don't realize how close we are to what seems to be an esoteric theory actually impacting profoundly our lives. We use quantum already for clocks and certain other things, but there's 3 uses of quantum that we know of right now. One is quantum computing. That's probably a ways off, but we are using what's called hybrid, which is supercomputers on traditional chips with a quantum component for some elements of the computing that is really going to advance the capacity for computational science. Quantum sensing is actually farther ahead. And one of the examples given by one of the witnesses is that using quantum sensing, soon you will be able to actually identify the one cancer cell before it's migrated to your pancreas and treat it before that happens. That would be a profound change in our capacity in medicine and many other fields. And the third thing we had a briefing on was artificial intelligence. There's been a lot of fear and concern, and it is proper to be alert to the potential downsides. We should not be blind to the upsides. For example, I didn't realize it was Google that had done this. Proteins are on our body. They're the building block, and unfolding them is a key to understanding and treating disorders and disease. They're so complicated that someone could get a PhD unfolding or trying to unfold a single proton. What Google did with artificial intelligence was unfold all the proteins in the human body in 2 weeks and post it for all scientists in the world to see. There are going to be huge advances in medicine and energy with AI. We need to come up with the appropriate guardrails that protect society, but that also don't squash the innovation that is going to greatly serve our futures.
What are some of your thoughts in terms of guardrails for AI?
Well, I don't have a plan yet, because we need to know what we're doing before we do it. But some of the issues have to do with liability for misconduct. One possibility is to create some super agency with all new rules. I think the better approach might be, because if you do an agency, they're not going to know everything. Right now, for example, it's illegal to use racial discrimination in hiring. You don't need to recreate an agency for that. That's already the law. And so I think you need guardrails. If your AI system produced that result, you're liable and you have to fix it. I mean, the government doesn't know how to fix it. And you can amplify that to all sorts of things that could cause human harm, so that the technology people who know way more about AI than any of the legislators can take the appropriate steps to make sure that harm is not done with their invention, for lack of a better word. One of the other issues that we're looking at, both privately, I put together content creators informally with AI developers for discussions to see how we might appropriately compensate artists and content creators whose works are being utilized by AI developers. I will say that those talks have not resulted in an answer yet, but I think they are fruitful. We had a hearing. I'm on the Intellectual Property Subcommittee in the Judiciary Committee. We had a hearing on content, copyright, and AI that was very, very helpful. Essentially, what these large model AI endeavors do is to take all the information that's available. I mean, they scrape the internet. And, most of what who knows most, a large amount of what they scraped was not copy protected, but some of it was. And the question is, and I don't know the answer, this is in court right now, they didn't actually take copies of it, they learned from it. So is that a copyright violation or is it not? One side says, well, that's fair use, which is a longstanding doctrine under copyright law. The other side says, no, we should be compensated. And I think that's probably going to be resolved by the courts before Congress is able to act on it. But I was interested to learn that Adobe, which is located in our district, right in downtown San Jose, has actually compensated all of the copyright holders for the data that they use for their AI work. So it is possible to do this. That's one of the outstanding issues. It's not like a threat in the same way, but is an important issue because we need to protect the humans too.